Candace mentioned, Horry County schools did get out of school early today, and with the weather showing no sign of improving, some of our public school systems have already decided to close tomorrow. Horry County schools are on a 2-hour delay tomorrow. Florence Districts 1 and 4, which are Florence and Timmonsville, are closed. Employees should report at 10 a.m. Florence Districts 2 and 5, which are Pamplico and Johnsonville, will open at 10 a.m. tomorrow. Florence District 3, the Lake City area, no school for students. It is closed. Marlboro County schools are closed. Dillon County School Districts 1, 2, and 3 are closed. Georgetown County schools on a 2-hour delay, and Williamsburg County and Columbus County schools on 2-hour delay tomorrow. Chesterfield County schools will be closed tomorrow. Clarendon County schools closed tomorrow. The staff should report at noon. Robinson and Scotland County schools will be closed, and finally, Darlington County schools will be closed tomorrow.
Well, it was not weather related, but Myrtle Beach investigators have figured out what caused an afternoon fire at an apartment complex. Fire investigators say the fire at Sandygate Village in Myrtle Beach was accidental. They say it started near a water heater that was surrounded by items. Fire crews got the call just before noon and had the flames under control in about 20 minutes. They say the fire started in the bottom apartment in this building and then spread to the upstairs unit. We're told 2 teenagers and an adult were home but not injured. The Red Cross has been notified and are in the process of relocating 2 families.
Well, of course, what everybody's talking about today, and as we've been talking about, is the weather, and I want to know just how bad it's going to get tonight.
And as Ed mentioned, it probably is going to get a little worse before it gets better. So we'll check in with Ed Piotrowski in a moment as we look at Highway 410 in the Bayboro community. Good evening, Horry County.
This is WPDE News Channel 15 weather with Chief Meteorologist Ed Piotrowski.
All right, welcome back, everyone. What a mess we have across the eastern Carolinas. One of the worst ice storms I've seen in many, many years here, especially across the PD and up along the border belt. Things will eventually get better, but it won't be until tomorrow sometime. So between now and at least the daylight hours tomorrow morning, things are going to be pretty nasty around the area, no question about that. Let's take a look now at the winter weather advisories we have out there. Winter storm warnings for the inland locations, meaning severe conditions in terms of icing will continue throughout the night. Winter weather advisories along the immediate coast where we could have some spotty areas of freezing drizzle, but by and large, the worst case scenario will be back out to the west here. So we have all these winter weather advisories out. Why are we not getting snow? Why are we not getting sleet, but nothing but freezing rain? You have to take a look at the atmospheric profile, and it tells a story. Here at the surface, most locations in the upper 20s to near 30 degrees, but a lot of what happens in weather happens above us, and as you go up in the atmosphere, the temperature warms considerably. In fact, it's dramatically warmer just a couple of thousand feet above us, where temperatures are in the low to mid 50s. The money we would pay to see that warm air work to the surface, it eventually will, but it'll take a couple of days to do so. So what's happening is the rain is forming, and it's actually falling through the clouds, heading toward the surface as rain, and just before it makes it to the surface, it encounters the very cold air that's below freezing and actually freezes upon contact. That's freezing rain, and that's the worst possible scenario when it comes to winter weather because of the black ice and also the accumulation of ice on trees and power lines and, of course, on bridges and overpasses. And until we can get this temperature above freezing, we'll continue to see that scenario play itself out overnight tonight, especially back across the PD. All right, here's the Doppler radar in motion now. Doppler 1500 still showing quite a bit of rain out there, especially along and east and southeast of I-95. A lot of this freezing on contact, but down by the beaches, the temperature's actually above freezing now in many areas, so highly unlikely we're seeing significant icing at all down along the Grand Strand. The further inland you go, of course, the worse it is. Meanwhile, in Darlington, Chesterfield, and Marlboro counties, these 3 counties in particular appear to be the hardest hit with the most significant ice accumulations, and at least right now, just some light rain out there at this point in time, or nothing at all. But it's not completely over with. Take a look at the satellite pictures in motion here along with the rain, and plenty of rain breaking out along the Gulf Coast states. Until this gets out of the way very late tonight and early tomorrow morning, we'll continue with occasional rain and freezing rain, especially the further inland you go. It'd be nice if we could get the temperatures above freezing, but that may not happen until sometime tomorrow morning. Take a look at live pinpoint weather net for you now. Good news in Myrtle Beach, Murrells Inlet, Pawleys Island, and Georgetown. A couple of degrees above freezing right now. Same in Sockasty. Little River at 33, but we're hovering around freezing from Loris down to Conway and Andrews, and all points north and west of there. And it's really along that line from Loris to Conway to Andrews and points west that we'll have the best chance of seeing significant icing, especially as you head back across the PD. In fact, when we take a look at the PD, Florence County to be specific, our temperature's still in the upper 20s to around 30 degrees. They've only budged about a degree or so all day long, so we suspect they'll stay at those numbers for the rest of the night. You folks in Darlington, Marlboro, and Dillon counties, your temperatures as well, generally in the upper 20s to around 30 degrees. So any kind of precipitation that falls out of the sky obviously will mean more freezing rain and more accumulations of the ice. All right, what to expect? Up to 3/4 of an inch of ice accumulation. That'll continue through late tonight. Significant icing obviously likely on roads, bridges, trees, and power lines. That will make for treacherous driving, as you've heard in this newscast so far. We'll continue to see more tree limbs fall simply because of the weight of the ice on those trees. And power lines may come down as well. Not necessarily just from accumulation of ice, but because you've got these tree limbs falling on them as well. What can you do? Obviously, you don't want to drive. Stay away from all down power lines. As you heard earlier in the newscast, they can still be energized with quite a bit of electricity. Be extremely careful if you lose power what your heat source will be. If you use a kerosene heater, make sure you're very careful with that. You have no other alternatives. You can go to a shelter or try to get to the hotel. All right, here's your forecast for the rest of the night now. Rain and freezing rain. Best chance of accumulating freezing rain back to our north and west, back to a large part of the PD and along the border belt. Temps hovering near 30 there. Mid-30s right along the immediate coast. In the morning, the precipitation should be done with, but still plenty of ice around. Some patchy freezing drizzle, especially inland, where temperatures will be in the low 30s, mid-30s along the immediate coast. And finally, I think we'll go above freezing tomorrow afternoon. Upper 30s and low 40s everywhere, mainly cloudy with some drizzle around and a north wind turning to the west at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Your 7-day forecast, breezy with a lot more sunshine, a heat wave on the way for Wednesday and Thursday. Highs in the low to mid 50s. We're back into the upper 50s on Friday. And it looks like the weather after we get through tonight and tomorrow morning looks beautiful, comparatively speaking. Highs mainly in the 50s with lots of sunshine.
Yeah, it doesn't take much for it to be beautiful, that's for sure.
That's for sure. Just get to 35 degrees, we'd all be loving it.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Ed.
Well, questions are being raised tonight about last week's train derailment in Charleston. We'll tell you why government officials are concerned about what could have been a very explosive situation.
And presidential hopefuls make their final push before the big New Hampshire primary. We'll have the latest from the campaign trail coming up.